Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. And it is Monday Mission Podcast weekly update. And this evening, we are talking about a whole lot of stuff. Brian is going to, as usual, give us the update for the week. And before we get into that, as usual, I'm Zita, your host. And I run a nonprofit organization called Zita's Healthy Beginnings. It's an organization that takes care of women and children and families. And we got connected with Project Die Hard because we recognize the significance of our veterans. Veterans who have, given their life in so many different ways just to make sure that our freedom is secured. And at this point, we want to show gratitude. And the way we want to do that is by giving it forward, providing those of them who need us, who need our services, helping them to really feel that sense of belonging. And our brother Brian has actually taken the bull by the horn. He himself is a veteran. He has been there, done that, and he understands the challenges veterans face, especially these days. And so he has started this nonprofit organization, Project Die Hard, and right now he's inviting all of us to consider volunteering our time, our energy, our resources to ensure that this nonprofit organization reaches its own goal, and that is giving hope, giving love, sharing with our veterans. This is a pilot project that is going to, started in Illinois, and hopefully, with the help of everybody, with the support of all of us, is going to be replicated in other parts of the United States and even beyond. Isn't that a great idea that our veterans are being given hope and are being granted a place for them to stay and kind of go through transformation that takes a while? But in this facility, is going to provide them that whole year of total, complete, holistic healing that they so need, so that they can really re-enter into our communities and feeling that sense of belonging. So my way of saying thank you is being part of this, being the host of Project Die Hard. And I invite all of us in so many ways, please get on board. This is very critical. And the time to act is now. And the people we're waiting for is ourselves. So I invite Brian to please come on and give us the weekly update.
Well, hello, sister. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
Oh, on mission, on task. Been a very busy week, but a very blessed week.
Great.
I cannot discount. I gotta say a shout out real quick to everybody that we also ask for prayer. Keep it up, because prayers work. I
Yes.
can't wait to dive into this because you guys, prayer does work.
Yes.
Okay, here we are. We are with the mission update. Remember, we go over the praise report,
Mm-hmm.
upcoming events, needs for the mission, and frequently asked questions. Okay, folks, find us, like us, follow us on all those social media platforms you see there. That's the only way this mission's going to grow. All right, here's our praise report. We had a very big meeting. The Veterans of Foreign Wars Auxiliary of Illinois, incoming president. For those who do not know, the Veterans of Foreign Wars is a veteran organization. They've been around for well over 100 years. Their auxiliary, people that aren't veterans but still support veterans, family members of veterans that belong to it, play a very big part. Well, they have their own structure within. They don't have a commander, they have a president. And the president of Illinois has chosen Forward Operating Base Rush to be her special project for the 2024 year. Ain't that great? Ain't that a praise? So what does that mean? That means she is going to push our mission through the Veterans of Foreign War Auxiliary, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and everywhere she can for the next year in her newsletter, on all social media things. And she is starting a special fund for Forward Operating Base Rush. We will not see that until the end of her presidency in 2024. But we are grateful because, you know what, we're going to need that big influx during that time.
Right.
So keep up the prayers, people. Keep them up. We got other big news coming in the next couple weeks. Now, I got to remind all of our followers, I will not be here next week for this lovely update. I'm going to entrust my team to do a great job because I have to be at an in-person event at the same time. And I haven't figured out that cloning thing yet. That's why we need you to volunteer. Speaking of that, upcoming events. The PDH Give Back Day. Our next one is Saturday, March 11th. Okay. Remember, this day is for our followers, our people, to take an hour out of that day and share our mission. And then, if you're in the area of one of our facilities, come by. Bring your work gloves and muck boots. There's work to be done. Right? We are so close at Pile Brush to get our occupancy permit. You know, Home Depot stepped up, donated all the material. Now we need plumbers, drywallers, painters. Take that day, volunteer. We will provide lunch, but you got to let us know you're coming. Our next fellowship breakfast is May 5th at the IHOP of Paducah. Right? I'm sorry, we're not nationwide yet, but we'll get there. Right? We got to start where we're at. And again, this is where volunteers come in. Right? I'm looking for some volunteers to take on this fellowship breakfast who can be there that first Wednesday of the month and man the booth, hand out the information, make sure it runs smooth. Hope Stock, you know, I'm going to be talking about that every week. July 23rd, 28th through the 30th. Remember last year, 4 veterans came to Christ and 2 veteran marriages were saved. So imagine what we're going to be able to do this year. Our frequently asked questions. This one's been coming up as of late. Why don't you take government money? Well, government money means bureaucracy. Ephesians 6:12 says, for we wrestle not against the flesh and blood, but against principalities, right? Yes. Against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay? We are faith-based, scripture-led. We don't take government money because people on high, right? Will you endorse a political candidate? Well, first off, we can't. As a 501c3 nonprofit organization, we cannot endorse a political candidate. That's part of the rules we have to operate by. So we can't, and even if we could, we won't. But we will let people know who helps the mission. Okay, these are a couple of questions that have been coming up. And again, people, send your questions in, right? You might get them featured on the podcast, and we answer every question that comes in. Our needs of the mission. Volunteers, you have that skill to help grow this mission to bring hope to veterans. We need you. We need you. Whether it's graphic design, whether it's emailing, whether it's admin. Again, we still need somebody to write our newsletter. Tell everybody in your networks that if they can spend some time writing our newsletter, to reach out and contact us. We do need more sponsors and vendors for Hope Stock. We are growing, but to put these events on, it takes funding. Okay, and this goes way beyond forward operating base rush. Last year, 4 veterans came to Christ and 2 veteran marriages were saved. My bean counters, my accountants, my money people said it was a complete failure because we ended up in the red. I personally consider it a home run. Why? 4 veterans came to Christ and 2 veteran marriages were saved. So this event will go on one way or another. We need everybody's help to make it bigger and better every year as we grow. For more information, you can email us, contact@projectdieheart.org. And remember, when you become that patron, all donations go to bring hope to veterans. They don't go to somebody's wallet. So, there it is. Now, before I run off and before commercial break, I would like to bring in our guest. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Everybody, see my sister Christy Remmel, a fellow doc, although Navy, but still a doc. I have to run, everybody, but I wanted to do a shout out for Christy and Blue Dragonfly. Since we've started, way back in the day, she's been behind the scenes doing great things for us. So we're going to let her speak. We're going to take a quick commercial break and pay for this stuff. And when everybody comes back, it'll be Zeta and Christy. And I have to run and do another thing. But again, everybody that helps, thank you. God bless you. Keep up the great work because we can't do it alone. All right, Emily, let's.
Hold on.
Maybe.
We at Project Die Hard are grateful for the awesome people at CFI Equipment located in Calvert City, Kentucky. They help our mission with equipment to do the big work on our facilities. To see their inventory and find a great deal, visit cfiequipmentinc.com. That's cfiequipmentinc.com. They are currently helping us to put a tractor on forward operating base rush, so stop by and meet these amazing people. Help them who help us bring hope to veterans. We at Project Die Hard are blessed to be working with the Veterans Ranch. They are bringing free equine therapy services to our facilities for our veterans and their families. No one organization can do it all. It takes teamwork to make the dream work. Visit theveteransranch.org. That's theveteransranch.org for more information. By supporting the one, you support both. Donate today. We at Project Die Hard are grateful for the support of No Quarters 1776. Are you looking for the perfect swag? Well, then you're in the right place. This veteran owned company supplies our mission with its products. So by supporting them, veteran owned company, visit noquarter1776.com today. That is noquarter1776.com and use code PDH22 to help us both bring hope to veterans.
That sucks.
Thank you for that commercial. So, Christy, over to you. I think you're muted. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking for the mute.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for having me here today.
You're welcome.
What do you want me to start?
So you heard the introduction, and also what Brian has shared with us about the organization and what is going on right now, how people are volunteering and stuff. So when we have a guest like you, we invite you to introduce yourself, let us know where you are, what you're doing, what inspires you, to really support this great cause. So,
Okay. Well, I am a veteran. I'm a United States Navy veteran. Most of my time was spent with the Marines as an FMF corpsman. I was a Persian Gulf War veteran, stationed in Camp Pendleton, California, deployed to Bahrain with MWSS 373. And then I proceeded to spend 6 very long months out in the sand. Never want to camp again. I think I've been there, done that, been cured, right? So I started in the veteran community a few years ago just because I wanted to help and be part of the solution to prevent veteran suicide, right? The rate. And so that then led me to start my own veteran chamber here in the Dallas-Fort Worth. It's dfwveteranschamber.org. And that's where I met Brian, because he became a nonprofit member of our chamber. I really liked what he stood for, his mission. And from the very beginning, I've told him, if I can use my skills to help you and further the cause, then just let me know. So whenever he asked for graphics or PowerPoint presentations, anything like that, where I can use my own skills as a graphic designer, then I go ahead and do that for him. So my personal business is the website development, graphic design, social media marketing. And so I use it to help veteran nonprofits further their costs, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's great. That is great. So how long have you been doing this? Maybe you mentioned that and I missed it. How long have you been doing this?
Well, my business for 15 years and the Veterans Chamber for 4 years. We're actually just starting our very 4th year here in the Dallas-Fort Worth.
Okay. So in the 4 years you've been doing this, what can you share with us? Because as you know, Brian has just started, and still asking people for resources and stuff like that. So how has that been for you in Dallas-Fort Worth, knowing that that's a different state? And so what has been the response? How made you happy? What are the challenges and stuff like that?
Well, as a nonprofit, there's always challenges, right? You just have to be creative and overcoming them. We do charge a membership for our veteran chamber, because like any other business, you need to have funds to operate. Our membership is very affordable. It's $300 a year or $40 a month. And so that's how we have been able to sustain, right?
Yeah.
For our nonprofits, such as Brian, membership is free. There's no charge for them to come in. And then the other thing, because I am in the marketing space, we do all of our marketing. And I got to say, after 3 years, we're just now just to start gaining that traction that we needed. Just because it's been all organic. There's no funds for paid advertisement or anything like that. So everything that we have done has been through organic social media marketing and branding, and then just appearing in different podcasts such as this one so that we can spread the word. My number one question, I guess, that I would get is, what makes your chamber different than any other chamber, right? So my answer is always, well, first of all, we're predominantly veterans. So you enter into a tribe, a family that really understands you, the veteran, what you've gone through, where you're at, and your person, right? So when you're having a hard time, we definitely understand what you're going through. And the other thing is that we bring a lot of value to our members in the way of resources. So, for example, one of them is business resources. Our statistics for our veteran community is that a transitioning active duty military will come out and they more than likely will try to get a job. Well, they will go through about 7 iterations of jobs before they say, oh, maybe I should start my own business, right? Because the jobs aren't working out. So then they jump into starting their own business, and they may or may not be successful. So we want to make sure that they are successful so that they don't have to go through bankruptcies, right? And it's very hard on the families when you're starting a brand new business. So what we're bringing is those resources to close the gap of the lack of knowledge when it comes to knowing how to run a business. We are partnered with an organization from California that is all about business knowledge, right? So how to put your business plan together, how to put your funding presentation together, how to create your 30 and 60-second pitch for your business, how to network. If you're already in business and you're growing and now you need an HR policy for your employees, we have those resources available. The other thing that we do is marketing strategies, because one part of business ownership is not just knowing about business and how to run your business, right? You have to market in order for people to know that you're here. And how to market in our current worldwide situation, right? How to stay in business, how to make sure that people know how to find you. So we have marketing strategies as part of our chamber member perks, where people can put their promotional for the quarter. They know exactly what they need, exactly how to do it, who their ideal client is, right? For those people that are ready to start maybe a newsletter or more of a branding campaign, we have that for them as well. And then how to find your passion, because one of the things that happens when you transition is that the military gave you that sense of purpose because you're always working towards the mission. When you come out, what is the mission, right? What is the passion? What's going to get you up in the morning? Yes, and part of it is the family. And we want to make sure that that's always present and is the top priority, but also taking care of yourself, right? So you are the only one who can do that. So what's going to get you out of bed? What's going to keep you excited? What's going to keep you engaged? So we have what I call a warrior program, right? where we discover that. And if you already know how to do that, if you already know your why and your passions, then you become a support for other veterans, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the last thing that we have as a member perk is those personal development, more intense than when you're going through a group, because it's self-paced and you're able to do it on, by yourself, right? So it's a self-paced program that we have. So that those components is what makes us different than a regular chamber. A regular chamber, nothing wrong with them. Do join them, right? Is for networking, for building your network, business network, right? So with us, you become part of the family, and we're genuinely here to help you personally as well as for your business. The other thing that we have available is that we have resources of different organizations that provide those types of helps. So for example, Brian, right, with his nonprofit, we're affiliated with a lot of the outside resources that provide resources to our veterans that need those benefits outside of the VA.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That's cool. That is really good because just like Brian is trying to help them transition, and you guys are also doing it, that whole thing of transformation in a way that it will be sustainable for the individuals involved. Now, I know that from my understanding, and I could be wrong, so you kind of giving support to individuals, but they have to enroll in your program, so to speak, right?
So to access our membership
Right,
perks,
right,
yes, you have to be part of our chamber because that's what makes us different, right?
right,
Um, if you need help for veteran resources like how to submit a claim, you need PTSD treatment or chronic pain treatment, then those are just referrals. And we work with different organizations that we say, here, contact this organization. I usually write an email, make an introduction real quick, put both parties on the email, and then I send that out. I do follow up a few days later just to make sure that that veteran did get taken care of. But our membership perks are for our members. Yes.
Okay.
And I just want to be clear that you don't have to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you're in California and you want to join us, well, by all means, join us.
That was going to be my next question, because I wanted to know, is that just for people in the Dallas area or even in Texas? But I'm glad you just mentioned that, because that's very important.
Well,
Veteran
Brian is from, it's out of state, right?
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Illinois area. So he's from out of state. We actually have members from like the Philippines, California, Florida, South Carolina, and even Houston, San Antonio, Tyler, and they're outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we don't exclude anybody. If you want to be part of our chamber, come be part of our chamber. We meet on Zoom every Friday, so you don't have to be here, right? We do have in-person networking groups that meet 4 or 5 times a month, once a month per group, right? But for those people that are in the area that want to network in person, there's that availability as well.
Okay, great. That's really wonderful. Before I ask you a few other questions, let's just take a break. Emily, can we advise, please? Commercial.
Yep, just a second. Yep, just a minute. So I can get back to my thing here.
So while we're waiting for Emily, can you put out your information, please, on the chart for us?
Sure.
Thank you.
We at Project Diehard are grateful for the support of the Crawl Space Ace, your local encapsulation experts. This veteran owned company supports our facilities with their services, and by supporting them, you support the mission and a veteran owned company. Visit crawlspaceace.com. That's crawlspaceace.com. We at Project Diehard are blessed with the support of the Gold Rush Cafe, located in Paducah, Kentucky. For outstanding food, stop by and meet these great people who help us bring hope to veterans. For more information, visit goldrushcafekentucky.com. That's goldrushcafekentucky.com. We at Project Diehard are honored to be on the prayer list of Eagle Fire Enrichment, where they pray for and share our mission. Visit eaglefireenrichment.com for more information. That's eaglefireenrichment.com. Join us in growing God's kingdom and giving veterans hope. Please pray and share. Then God can do the rest. Project Diehard is grateful for the prayers we receive. We know they work. We do not seek funding from our spiritual patrons. Your donation grows the kingdom and God's army. Become a patron today to bring hope to veterans. Visit projectdiehard.org and see how you can help.
All right, thank you for that. So I think another question I have for you is thinking about and recognizing what is going on in the lives of veterans, and that in terms of the um, trauma that they're going through, and which has unfortunately resulted to some people taking their life by themselves. So what are you guys in your own organization? How are you handling that? And what would you encourage some organization like Brian's? You know, what have you learned, and what would you really tell them? This organization, Project Diehard, on how to really look at the whole picture.
Well, I think one of the things that our veterans experience is loss of hope. So when you lose hope, that's when you start thinking about suicide, right? Our brain, when you go to trauma, and this it doesn't really apply to just veterans, this is trauma in general. So anybody can go through trauma, right? And this is just me speaking. I'm not a doctor. I'm not advocating. This is just from my experience. And what I have learned, right, is that when somebody suffers trauma, your brain becomes dysfunctional. And it becomes dysfunctional because your brain loves you so much, it's trying to protect you, but it doesn't know right from wrong, right? So we have two parts of our brain, and this is scientific, so you can go look it up. But the left side of the brain is the part that becomes dysfunctional when trauma is caused. So when that trauma is caused, then the brain goes into the fight or flight mode, right? And so it's trying to protect you. So then it feeds you lies. it tells you, it makes you feel anxiety and fear. And that's where those triggers come from, right?
Mhm.
And so you then become fearful. You have a lot of anxiety. You have anger issues, right? Because you're angry at whether you're conscious that you have anger issues or at a subconscious level that you have anger issues, right? Because of the trauma that you've experienced. And so it it just gives you all the wrong information. And then every once in a while, the right side of the brain will go, well, maybe things could get better. But it's a very tiny voice, because the left side, which is a rational side of the brain, the one that is more in control, is talking louder, right? And so how do you gain the hope so that you can hear the right side of the brain, which is the one part that gives you the hope, right? A lot of it is having those scoping skills that you need, meditating and refocusing your brain. Sometimes people do need medication, and you need the medication to quiet the brain. That's why they get medication, right? Because you're trying to reset everything. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. There's nothing wrong with getting the medication until you do enough work to get off the medication, right? And how do you do that? Well, one, you have to oxygenate the brain. The fastest way to do that is through exercise. You can exercise, then take a walk. You can't take a walk, then stretch. You can't stretch, sit outside, smell the fresh air, right? And then the other thing is reading something positive, looking at things that are positive. And in the beginning, your brain, the left side of the brain, which I call it the crab bucket, right? The crab bucket side of the brain is going to pull you back in, right? So I always make the analogy: you have a bucket full of crabs, and those are all your fears, your anxieties, your issues, right? And you're trying to get out of the bucket, so that's the right side of the brain, and you put a leg over the bucket, right? And then all the other crabs pull you back down, right? That's your left side of the brain feeding you all the lies, right? And so in the beginning, it is a lot of effort. It is a lot of work, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Right.
And so seeking the help, there's so many organizations outside of the VA that have resources such as Brian's, right? That will help those veterans get those coping skills, get the knowledge that they need in order to make it to the other side. Are we ever going to be perfect again? No. Are we ever going to be completely cured? No. What you are going to be is able to move through those instances faster so that you can have a good life, right? So we are all deserving. It doesn't matter who you are. If you are a human being, we are all deserving of a good life.
Right.
Every one of us deserves to have a good life, right? And it's a matter of how do you achieve that state of being to where you feel deserving. The other thing that plagues our veteran community is the lack of feeling deserving, the lack of feeling like you deserve to have a good life because you made it and your buddies didn't, right? And that guilt that accompanies those issues. Well, it doesn't matter whether you made it and they didn't. If you are still here, it's for a reason. And if you don't find out what the reason is, then you're always going to be in the crap bucket. There's no judgment, right? We just gotta realize I'm here for a reason. There's a purpose for my life. Maybe I can be of service to somebody else. Me having a great and amazing life is how I pay homage to my friends, right?
Yeah.
And when veterans get stuck, to me, that's an even greater disservice than if they have an amazing life. And it could be a simple, amazing life. It could be that they're grateful for being alive and they're spending time with their families. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
That you have to go off and be a billionaire and change the whole entire world, right?
I know.
No, it just means that you are happy where you're planted, that
Right.
you are being a productive member of society where you are planted. It could be as simple as that. It could be as simple as you being a good mom or a good dad to your children and your grandchildren and your brother, sister, mom, dad, whoever. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Wow. That's really great. Yes, I'm glad to hear that because a lot of us, in fact, as you mentioned earlier, we are all deserving of a better life, whether you're a veteran or not, honestly. And also, a lot of people also go to trauma, not necessarily having been a veteran,
Exactly.
but how life goes, and life throws all kinds of challenges to all of us at different stages in our life. So one trying to pull themselves together, taking advantage of the resources that is out there, really help. It helps, and we know that some people might not even get to that place where they can say, "Oh yeah, there are resources here. I'm going to take advantage of it." And I think what Brian is doing is really going to help, for people to see, veterans to see, oh, yeah, here is a sign of hope. Here is a place that I can actually go, ask questions, be myself, see how I can actually pull myself together once again. So, and what you do in your own area is to let people know that all hope is not lost. You can still bounce back and live life, as normal as possible. So I'm so glad that you're here with us this evening to share. Now you said that you're also a veteran. What would you really tell a young person today who is aspiring to, go into the army or do something, in that line? What would be your word of advice, encouragement to them, and even to their family?
Well, there is no greater sacrifice that you can make than for your country. And serving our country is a privilege. It really is a privilege. So I don't discourage anybody from joining the military. What I would say is to stay knowledgeable. So read, right? I know that this is a Christian-based podcast. My favorite part of the Bible is really the Psalms, the book of Psalms. King Solomon, King David, that is, King David, is really the very first veteran who shows up on the Bible. And if you read the book of David, right, he talks about his PTSD, his anxiety, his fears. His nightmares were awful, right? And he writes about it. And then how he gets through them, right? With his prayers and his songs. And if you read that and you understand that he is our very first veteran who was traumatized, and he went on and he had a very successful life, right? I mean, he's in the Bible. And when you read those Psalms, you get to understand that he suffered in a time where there was no coping skills. There was no medication. There was no psychologist. There were no doctors, right? And he made it through.
Right.
It gives you a lot of comfort. So I would say read the Bible, whichever Bible you use from whatever denomination you are, read your Bible and find out who you really are, right? We are all created in God's image, whether you believe in God or not. We are created in God's image, and God we have a spark of God in our heart.
Absolutely.
Your heart is the first thing that forms, and that little heart gives you your heartbeat, and there's a spark in there. There's also a tiny, tiny little itty bitty piece of your brain in your heart, right? And that's why people say, well, are you thinking with your heart? Or are you thinking with your brain, right? Well, there's truth to that. And you can go do research and you can go find that out. But we have a piece of brain in our heart, which is also the spark
Right.
in our heart. So if you go do research and you find out who God is to you, doesn't matter what denomination you are, then you go into the military a lot more stable, mentally, emotionally stable, right? You're able to withstand the assaults that serving in the military puts on us, right? Being in a war, the longest war since the Vietnam War, you know, it's a challenge. But I don't discourage anybody from joining the military. I think it was an honor. I would do it again in a blink of an eye. And I don't have any regrets.
Great, great. Thank you so much. I mean, that was a beautiful insight, even in the scripture. So people can have that whole baseline information, knowing that even, someone has done it before, like you said, who didn't have a whole lot of resources. But the one resource that I know that this guy had was God. So
Yes.
if you have that resource, you have everything. So start with that. So thank you so much. Appreciate your time and you joining us. I hope that you can also join us in the future, especially as we progress with the pilot project in Illinois. And hopefully Brian will be able to get more, people who volunteer, who are willing to support this great cause. And also, you guys, I know you're also helping through volunteering your own skills and talents, as well as coming to the podcast. These are all volunteer, and voluntary ways we all, come across and trying to share and also encouraging other people to join. So thank you and have a wonderful evening. I don't know if you have any other thing to tell us.
I do. I have one little tiny bit.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's either Psalms 41 or 43.
Okay.
But there's a passage that says, be still and know that I am God.
Yes.
And that is my favorite passage, because when you have anxiety or when you're trying not to lose your temper, I always remember, be still and know that I am God.
Yes.
And then I get quiet and I rest in that knowledge.
Yes. And that really goes for all of us.
Yes.
Especially when life throws stuff to us, just be still and know that I'm God. And then the challenge is getting to that point of getting still.
Yes.
Because that is the challenge, getting that point to that point, but know that it is possible. That someone has done that in the past. Some other people have done it. So it's possible to do it, especially with the help that people like you and Brian are providing.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. I hope that the organization and the event does very, very well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Something went wrong.
You too.
Please try again.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
We at Project DieHard are grateful for the support of Chase Motorsports located in Paducah, Kentucky. By supporting them, they can do more for the mission. To see their inventory and find a great deal, Visit ridewithchase.com. That's ridewithchase.com. Stop by and meet these outstanding people who help us bring hope to veterans. We at Project Die Hard are blessed to be working with Rollout PTSD. They are giving our residents access to their programs to give them the assistance they need. No one organization can do it all. It takes teamwork to make the dream work. Visit rolloutptsd.org for more information. That's rolloutptsd.org. By supporting the one, you support both. Donate today. We at Project Die Hard are honored to be on the prayer list of Third Day Warriors, where they pray for and share our mission. Please visit thirddaywarriors.com for more information. That's thirddaywarriors.com. Join us in growing God's kingdom and giving veterans hope. Please pray and share, then God can do the rest. Project Die Hard is proud to have the blessing of being partnered with Maxwell's Soaps. They believe that having access to soap and water is a basic human right. This veteran-owned company supplies our facilities with their products. So for every bar of soap you order, Maxwell's Soaps will give a bar to the mission. So visit maxwellssoap.com, that's maxwellssoap.com, and use code PDH22, that's PDH22. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work.